Hey, it's Wally, and I just want to thank so many people, our potties, the people that listen to the radio station, for partnering together to make a difference in the lives of Ukrainian refugees. This thing over there is a mess. We're entering the 5th month of this, and it's just heartbreaking to see what people are going through and how they're having to live. But here's the upside. Together, we have sent more than 100,000 meals to Ukraine already. These meals are being distributed by 3,500 pastors who are risking their lives every day to minister to these families and get them the food that they need. So if you've given, thank you so much. Now, we're down to the last couple weeks of the month, and how cool would it be to up the ante here and send another 50,000 meals by the end of July? I know it sounds like a lot, but at 25 cents a meal, that's not a lot, and a little bit from each of us can go a long way. I know I've already done my part because I'm never going to ask you to do something I won't do, but think about it. $100 sends 400 meals, and then if you roll that out and do $500 or $1,000 gift, imagine the impact that you're having. So if you want to get involved, you've seen all the hardship and the heartache and thought, man, I wish there was something I could do. This is something you can do. Just join us by texting Wally to 91999. That's Wally to 91999. And the cool part of this is, man, you get to be the answer to a mom's prayer as she's wondering how she's going to feed her children. Again, text the word Wally to 91999. Welcome to the Wally Show Aftercast. All those things we didn't get to during the course of the show today. I've been wanting to talk about this one like all day. Like I wanted to do it on the show, but didn't have enough space to really do it justice. But Beyonce is caving to public pressure, believe it or not. It's weird. Somebody's upset about something. It's so strange. We live in a world where people don't get upset and take to Twitter every day over nothing. But apparently this one did. So she released her new album, and a lot of people loved it. It's her 7th album, and it came under fire, though, for a word that she had in a song. And you think, oh, wow, it was something derogatory or something just really bad. Like oh, boy, you don't want to have that. And it was in her song, Heated. And I had to look up the term because one of the people that posted about that said, using that ableist term. I'm like, what does ableist mean? And so as I looked it up, apparently she used the word spaz, which is, colloquially used to describe someone freaking out or going crazy. Well, it was derived years ago from the word spastic, which was something that was said about people that had cerebral palsy. You had a spastic episode or whatever. And so it became a word just in our society of, oh, you're a spaz. You're freaking out. You're going nuts. Like, that's it. That's all it is. Words evolve over time. But some people are stuck back, a million years ago, and they're like, that word does not evolve, and I'm offended. And they go nuts. And so they put pressure on Beyonce to pull the song. And Beyonce did. Like everyone's so afraid of the media backlash, and everyone's so afraid of, upsetting everybody's little tiny whims that she changed the song. I don't get that. I would be like, stop spazzing out about it. I'm not changing it.
I get what you're saying. I want to play devil's advocate.
Oh, the 9 for the love. This must be horrible to be you.
No, it's really not. I think that maybe she didn't do it, and there's a chance she could have done it out of fear or thinking like, oh, fine, because she didn't want to lose followers.
Right.
But she also could have done it out of a kind heart. Like she maybe knows someone in her family who has that kind of...
No, she wrote the song. She wrote the word. She didn't see anything wrong with it.
Because she didn't know that there was any kind of hurtfulness to it.
But there's not hurtfulness to it.
I know. I'm just saying
it's
some people think so.
Overly stupid sensitive about everything. We're raising a generation of people that think everyone's supposed to cater to their whims.
I think what's ironic about all this is that the line that the word came out of... She says a bad word in that line, yet no one cares about that or the subject of the song.
No.
It's all about the word spaz.
Yeah, the other
have
stuff
a problem with.
is far worse than this word. I love the thing. This is why I hate Twitter. So at Beyonce used the word SP and then asterisk asterisk. This person who's doing it couldn't even write the word spaz because then they would get called out for saying, well, wait, you're mad about it, but you used the word. She says use the word SP asterisk asterisk in her new song Heated. Feels like a slap in the face to me. The disabled community, the progression we tried to make with Lizzo, because they went after Lizzo for using the word spaz too. Disability advocate Hannah, she wrote this, and because Lizzo got in trouble too. Guess I'll just keep trying to tell the whole industry to do better until their ableist slurs disappear from music. Ableist slurs make you sound like a pretentious jerk face. Like, I just am dumbfounded the fact that we cater to these people on Twitter. If somebody said something about that to me, I'd be like, okay, fine. I'm not changing it. There was no malice, no intention in there, and I don't think the word is that way. It's seen that way at all, And so it's like, you can't have everything. You're going to wake up and be offended about everything today. And so go, you do you, and live a miserable life.
What if you had a child that had this cerebral
Let me tell you,
situation?
My nephew has cerebral palsy.
Is it what the spaz thing is used for?
Yes, it's what he has. He can't control half the side of his body. He has seizures, and he's the funniest, coolest kid. And we talk about stuff like that. Like, we make jokes about it to destigmatize it, But again, like you said, we all had to look it up. So no one is thinking in context of this word being a negative word towards the disabled. Now, if you were to say, oh, I just got retarded, then you go, yes, I get it. Still a word towards retardation. I get it. Like the Black Eyed Peas song. It used to be, the original version, let's get it started in here, was let's get retarded in here. That was the original version, and they changed it because of the stigma. Totally get that. But when we get down into this type of level of spaz, come on, man. Like, it just, oh my goodness. Somebody else, where was the other one? Another person commented with, screw you at Beyonce. You should be a role model, not making money from lazy use of derogatory language. Shame on you. Shame on you. No, shame on you. Shame on you for being annoying. And shame on you for thinking that anyone cares about your opinion. Shame on you. How about you just go about your day and shut up? Okay, so there you go. I love the Aftercast. This could never happen on the regular show. It just makes me so mad. I'm so frustrated by people's sensitivities and their over political correctness. If I ever run for office, I'm sure somebody's going to bring up all of these podcasts, and I won't.
Don't ever.
Yeah, and I'll never be voted into any office because of oversensitive people. Like, he doesn't care. No, I do care. I just don't want you to be controlling everybody else's language and making issues where it's not an issue. That's my big thing. Like, make an issue where it matters and where it's real. Yeah. Go after that stuff. Definitely have people do better when it's something that is real. Absolutely. But not this, because then you've just watered it down. You take people like me, and there's a lot of people that do believe like me, believe it or not. There's a lot of people that would support me if I ran for something. But the thing about this is, you take people like me and you instantly make me an enemy. You don't have me on your side at all. In fact, I'm going to go as hard as I can against you now, because that's how I'm wired. Now, if you come to me with a well thought out plan and hey, just a thought, did you know this? But when it's you've got to do better and I'm coming at you and we've got blah, 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 instantly a wall goes up and I will fight you tooth and toe. Nail. Even if I lose my steam and I find out I'm wrong, I'm still going to keep going at you. So anyway, that was fun, right? Yeah. Come on, Rock. Come on.
He's
Let's
had a
go.
coffee today, guys.
People. I'm telling you, I get more comments.
I know. I'm just
because people are sick of it. People are tired, Rock.
Here's the thing, though. Those people can use a volume button or a mute button, and I don't have that option.
People are tired of other people getting away with murder and dictating how we all think and believe because they're offended. And I think that this is the voice for those people. I take this very seriously.
I admit that it is ridiculous, and I think that there are big things that could really be changed. But I mean, then again, my 9 gets the best of me, and I say I don't have anyone in my life that deals with that kind of disability. So
it's so I think it would be really hard to be a 9. I really do. Because I see black and white pretty easily, and sometimes when I see black and white, I'm fully aware that I'm on the wrong side of black and white. Absolutely. I'll have an opinion about something, and then as time goes on, or if somebody gives me a different perspective, I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm on the wrong side of that. But with you are just innately wired that every time something comes up where there's like a disagreement or what do you call it?
Difference of opinion?
Not consensus, yeah, or just an argument. Like you are wired to see both sides of the story, which is probably a super healthy thing, but I would think it would almost be kind of a burden too.
Why?
Because you never really have what is your own opinion? You never really have
That's
your
true.
own opinion because you circle around because you see everybody's side. And I think it would be hard for you as a 9, Enneagram 9, to actually go, wait, this is my opinion and I'm not backing off of this.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I cannot think of the last thing that I had like a full-blown opinion on.
Right. But my wife is a 9 too, and she's the same way. Like I see
because
it in her.
I can see the common ground that both are trying to come from.
Sure.
And I have empathy for both sides. And I don't think anything's going to happen if one is just like stern and mean and the other one just comes back, like you were saying earlier, stern and mean. So if we're all that way, what's going to get solved? Nothing. So
being a 9, I think, is healthy and is necessary in this world where we have built-in areas for disagreement. I think you need 9s. You need peacemakers. But then the other part of that is where sometimes people tend to think, oh, well, the people that are really, dogmatic, then they're wrong. And it's like, no, you actually need both people. You need both people that will take up a charge for something that is truly wrong and will stand against racism. Think about that. Like if we all just were like, I don't know, like, and no one had a hard opinion and said, wait, this is wrong.
Yeah.
Slavery. Someone was at some point in time, someone went, hey, let me just, I want to point out that this is wrong, and then, and they got a bunch of flack for it, but they stuck to their guns. And so we need both. But inside of all of that, I think balance is key. And I know that I'm completely imbalanced sometimes. And that's why you're here to bring balance to not only the show, but me. So thank you.
You're welcome.
What you got?
Country music star Naomi Judd. You probably remember her passing. She was the one that was half of the Judd.
The mom
Judds,
half.
Yeah, the mom half of the Judds, the country duo, with her daughter, Winona Judd.
Mama, he's crazy, crazy over me.
Such a sad story that she suffered in silence for so long to people like us that had no idea that she was dealing with the mental health issues that she had. And then recently she took her own life. And that's sad.
I had a friend of mine just read her book, and I asked her, because she wrote a book about depression and how she got through it, actually. And so my friend read it, and I asked her, I said, was it like uplifting?
Yeah.
Was it anything? And she said, actually, no, it was just a lot about like for instance, her husband of 33 years, he's a gospel singer. And she said in her book that he would get up every morning and make it a necessity to sit at the breakfast table and read his Bible while he ate breakfast.
Oh, wow. Good on him.
She got offended at the church that they went to because they preached on how they didn't believe in same-sex marriage.
Right.
And I guess the Judds, or Naomi Judd, they have a lot of fans that are in the LGBTQ community. And so she felt like that was wrong. And she said she got up and left the church immediately and never went back. But she dealt with all of this depression and anxiety, and she never really said what she did. Like my friend said, she just kind of said she went to a counselor, and her counselor was like, you need to, really think about what you're thankful for. And that's what she left on, was being, counting your blessings, which is a good thing.
Right. But like, that's where I start with people. When people talk to me about like depression and things like that, I will tell them, okay, find one thing you're thankful for. Just one thing. And then when you get heavy that day, think about that one thing and then see if it leads to another. But that's like the starting place. That's not the ending place. That's like, okay, also go see a counselor and see if you've got a chemical issue, or, is there a faith component to this, and start there. That can't be the end, because that's just
and I'm not
healthy.
making any kind of statement on her
Of course
faith.
you're not. You're a 9.
I'm not, because I don't know what she believed. I don't know if she was a believer. I didn't read the book. I don't know. But I thought it was sad that she wrote a book on how she got through it, and yet she finds herself. Now, she did go through a whole lot.
Sure.
A whole lot in her past. Anyways, all that to say, so she passed away, and she left a will that was worth $25 million.
Wow.
Well, rumors are starting to spread that she may have left her 2 daughters, Winona and Ashley, nothing.
Oh.
They're not even
they're
in
both
the will.
successful, but wow.
Well, we do know that the will was written in 2017.
Okay.
And she was of sound mind.
Yeah.
But her husband of 33 years, Larry Strickland, he's the executor and given, quote...
Executor.
Yeah. And given, quote, full authority and
sure.
discretion over her assets without the approval of any court.
Theoretically, unless she otherwise stipulated it where he's the surviving spouse, it should still all be in his thing until he passes away. But I mean, she can still say, yes, upon my death, so-and-so gets this. And where he's the executor, if she just left him in charge of it, then yeah, he can do whatever he wants to with it.
Well, it also says if Larry ceases or fails to serve, then his brother takes over as executor.
Yeah, the executor thing, man, that's a headache. Like my dad made me the executor of him and my mom's stuff, and I was kind of hoping that my sister would have it because it ends up being a lot of work.
You have to answer all the questions that other people have.
And
about
things
it.
you don't know. Like there's a lot of stuff. When someone passes away, there's a book. It's like, so you're dead, now what? And my wife wanted to get that for our daughter because there's so many nuances to it and so many headaches and things you just don't know. Like we started a family trust and put our assets in that family trust for that reason. The will is not enough. A will takes you through probate still. For anything that's not like set up through a trust, it still has to go through the court system, and it can take a year and cost you money. If you set up the trust, it's all determined and it all transfers instantly to my daughter. So she, like, our house, our cars, our accounts, everything goes straight to her, and you can't just do that in a will. That's why you have to have a trust that sets it up. So that's something I learned, and when Marty's dad passed away, and it's one of those things you just don't think of.
Well, it's going to be interesting because if Naomi did leave her daughters out, that's kind of shocking.
Yeah.
And then where does that $25 million go?
To the husband. Seriously.
And I believe Ashley and Winona have different dads, and that Larry is neither one of their dads.
That sounds about right too. So there's a whole nother dynamic as well.
Yeah.
Back to her mental state and writing this book. I actually, you wonder if this was a thing where she really wanted to talk about this and thought it was going to be like therapeutic for her and for other people, but was down in it. Or did a publicist go, you've struggled with this, you got to write this, it'll be good, and let's write a book. And the whole time she's not out of it yet, and like I'm curious if that's how that went, and that's why there is no resolution. It was like talking to Jason Gray, Christian artist Jason Gray. He was going through a divorce, and I remember asking him one time about, he wasn't talking about it, would not talk about it at all. And I'm always from the school of I share everything, and I was asking him why, and he's like, look, I was counseled by somebody that's walking through this with me, and they said, you're not in a place to actually talk about this healthy right now. You need to wait till you're on the other side of it, and then there can be something redemptive to it. Because right now you're in it and it's too fresh. And I'd never considered that before, and it actually made sense to me, and kind of the thing with Naomi. And it's like, you're in it right now, but you're giving this advice that you're not prepared to give because you're still wrapped up in the grips of the depression, but to have an ending for a book, you just kind of throw something out there. And I think that's sad.
And maybe it could have been like it's a project and it keeps her busy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or maybe she really did think she was at the end of it. Who knows?
Or maybe it helped her. Or she, as things turned out, that's the thing too. It's hard to judge that stuff because as things turned out, you could go, oh, well, she wasn't out of it yet, but she could have had kind of like an alcoholic. You had a relapse and just had a really bad, tragic day, inside of this.
I think one big lesson that I took from it was the very next day, she was going to be inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And that's a huge achievement. And that still wasn't enough for her.
Yeah.
And the $25 million, like she has money, prestige, like everything.
That's it, man.
And yet she still was like,
still depressed and still unhappy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like it'd be so easy to put the Christian bow on this and go, you just have to have more faith. Man, if she had just been a really strong believer, she would have been fine. It's not the case. Really strong believers struggle with really big depression, and it's not that case. And there's a stigma to it inside of the church. It makes it even worse for, I think, Christians to struggle with depression. Like outside of faith, people go, I went to the doctor and I got medicine and I'm good. And people like celebrate. Yeah, good for you, working on you. Inside of the church, for some reason, we're like, oh, no. No, you needed medicine? No. Oh, no, you just pray a little harder. And it's like, hey, man, God gave us wisdom. He gave us doctors. He gave us, the ability to create things that can help us through stuff. But faith should be part of it for sure. But it's not always all of it.
Just this morning, I think I've said this before in the past, Nicole and I are trying to read our way through the Bible. And just this morning, the reading was on King Hezekiah and how he got sick. And it was interesting because it made me question, like what you've been saying, like God doesn't change his mind no matter how much we pray, blah, 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 blah. Like things are going to happen no matter what, like you're saying with safe travels and stuff. But anyways, Hezekiah gets sick and the prophet Isaiah is told by God, hey, tell him that he's going to die. And Hezekiah just is overwhelmed with sadness and he prays and he says, give me more years. Like I'm not done. I'll praise you and all this stuff. And God does. Because the prophet Isaiah is leaving.
Sure.
And then God tells Isaiah, hey, turn around, tell him you need to mix these things together and this will cure you, which is going back to what you were saying about the whole medicine, like the depression medicine or the anxiety medication. Like God could have easily said, okay, fine, you're healed. And like just said it and it's done. But instead, he told his prophet to make a mixture of medicine to cure him. And then it did. He didn't have to use medication. But all that
that's really interesting. Like I literally I've forgotten that story and I didn't know where that was going. And the fact that you're talking about that where he could have just healed him, but he chose to do it through medicine. That is fascinating. Yeah. I don't remember that story.
But it also goes to question your question about does God change his mind? Because God had said, no, you're going to die. And then Hezekiah pleaded with him. Right. And he told Isaiah, okay, go back and tell him I'll give you 15 or
I think either I've said it wrong or you've misunderstood me because I don't think that God doesn't change his mind. But I don't know when prayers in essence do that because you think of every parent that has a sick child and is face down before God praying, please God, just give my child one more day. My wife would give anything to have one more day with her mom, and that wasn't the case. So he didn't alter those. He didn't change those. So I do believe God heals. I do believe God has miracles, but I have no idea when. And I don't know that our quick prayers in a youth group or not youth group, a small group change it. Hezekiah going to God and going, God, please, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Give me another day. Changes it. How many people prayed for lottery tickets and they didn't get it?
But then there's another verse that says something like he's a God that never changes. So if he never changes, then he doesn't change his mind either.
Yeah, so was he already predisposed to Hezekiah was going to live? I don't know.
Right. And then after all that's said and done and Hezekiah gets healed, he's so, I think, grateful for the time that he has that this whole other army comes in and he wants to brag to them about everything that he has. And I think maybe he did it out of good intentions. Like, look at all this gold I have. Look at everything that is owed to me. But then the Lord told Isaiah, now tell Hezekiah you've really messed up because
now he's hosed.
Yeah, but God knew that the whole time that he knew Hezekiah was going to mess up again.
So did he take him out early then before his 15 years?
Well, that I don't remember. I don't think so.
That'd be kind of a bummer. I'm going to give you 15 more years.
This is in 1st or 2nd Kings. I can't remember. But anyways, he started, I guess, bragging about how much he owned, and God didn't like that. So then Isaiah's like, well, you messed up, and now that army is going to steal everything from you. And then they did.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. Oh, so fun. All right. Well, let's do some birthdays.
Okay. We've got one. It is from Elijah the Great. to himself.
I like that. And he probably
Elijah
gave
the
himself
Great.
the nickname, too. I
He
love
might
it.
have. He said, I love The Wally Show, Jurassic World, Star Wars, and Spider-Man. I am funny, energetic, and totally awesome. Wow. I also love making videos for my YouTube channel where
is
I do
great.
drawing and Lego stuff.
What?
And I am 12.
Oh, that's kind of cool. He is
Happy
great. I
birthday,
like Elijah
Elijah.
the Great.
His question is, if you had a YouTube channel, what would you name it? What would you do on it? And why would you do it?
Those are good questions. I think I would actually. I'd flirted with this a couple of times where I like when I'm building something, I kind of chronicle it, and then it got to be too much of a headache to try and do the video stuff along with making stuff. If I had somebody to shoot it and things like that, I would probably do that. Because I had started something one time. I was calling it. Well made, and it was when I would make different things, but we were taking a portion of the money that I made and donating it to wells in Africa, and so it was kind of a play on words, like making something well but doing some good with it, and so that's probably what I would do.
That's a good one. What would I do? I think
Puzzles.
maybe.
Live. See. Nope.
I have one viewer. It's my mother.
Nope.
Wow, crazy guys, that one didn't fit.
Nope.
Hey, I just stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Nope.
On a rabbit trail here, I finished a puzzle last night that I bought off Facebook Marketplace, and there were
Nope.
2 missing pieces.
Oh, you can't finish
Did you get
it.
your money back?
No.
Did they say there was missing pieces?
No.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So did you spend more than $5 on this
No.
puzzle?
I spent $3 on it.
Now, is it unfinished? Is it like you stare at it and those 2 pieces are staring at you, glaring at you?
No, it doesn't bother
Is
me.
it failure? Because
But
it feels
just
like
was
failure.
to me, that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that they didn't specify it.
Ah, I got you. You
And
felt
I am
duped.
making an assumption because I do have 2 cats at my house,
Yeah.
and there is
Now,
possibility I'll find one in the litter box.
Yeah.
Who knows?
if you're somebody who has, let's say, like a few 500-piece plus pieces puzzle and you're trying to sell them to people, do you think it's their job to build the entire puzzle to make sure they have everything for you before they sell it to you, though? Or do you think that it's fine for them to just sell it to you cold?
Well, that's a good question. I will go back to what Sarah did. Do you remember Zach's wife, Sarah? She would actually build the
Yeah.
puzzles that she got to make sure all the pieces were there,
Yeah.
and then she would sell them.
That's
Okay.
next
That's
level.
going above and beyond.
Because that is good
Yeah.
service, but
now,
also...
the question for me is, would I sell it knowing there are 2 pieces missing?
Mhm, you would, and yes. And
No, I wouldn't.
would you specify that there are 2
Yes.
pieces missing? Okay, let me see. I'm doing a little math here. 8,
Carry the 2.
equals, okay. So if it took you 8 hours to do a $5 puzzle, you would have made $1.06 an hour if you were going to make it first to then sell it. Totally not worth it. I would just put a disclaimer. We think all the pieces are here. You'll find out.
Everything might be in the box.
Yeah, exactly. I used to, when my wife
see.
would do puzzles, is I would actually take one of the pieces. And so she'd get down to the end and be like, where's that piece? I don't know. And so she'd go crazy looking for it. That was always fun. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for our Aftercast today. And as always, thanks for being a potty.